How's it going, YouTube and all the ISF fans out there? This is Ty523 here, and I am bringing you Week 5, Season 1 matchup between the Florida Feraligatrs and the Cincinnati Regigigas, and I am here with the coach of the Cincinnati Regigigas. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Damon, and I've already been here. You should know me.
All right, go ahead and start talking about the matchup. So, what were you thinking about when you were going starting to plan out for this team?
Alright, so Jair has talked about this plenty times in the chat, though you all can't see that because you're not privileged to the chat. Wonderful things happen in that chat, I can assure you. But he's talked a lot about his big ground and ice weakness, and so with the free agency, as you all you probably figured it out somewhere or another. I forget what he dropped, but basically he picked up Alamamola, and that is a huge threat because for one of two reasons. First reason is that it takes away an ice weakness and gives it an ice resistance, which lowers the ice basically weakness a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, it has regenerator, and that kind of makes a ridiculously powerful regenerator core. As you can see, brought 3 modules regenerator, Amoonguss, Almamola, and Thunder Tornadus Terrian, sorry. And that's a problem. Regenerator is an absurdly good ability. The
That it
ability
is.
to
That it
regen all the
is.
health and whatever, so. Sorry. But basically, that means that stealth rocks are a must. And I don't really have anything to hazard stack against him, and I don't think that was the best plan of action, so I just kind of went with stealth rocks. In this case, my stealth rock was going to be Dawn Fan for a few reasons. One, it has rapid spin, which means I don't have to bring separate mons for stealth rock and rapid spin, and that kind of opens up my planning a little bit. And second of all, it has the oh so amazing ground typing, which is really good against Jair because while Almamola does resist ice, it does not resist ground. So ground really hits a lot of things on his team. At this point, my Don fan one shot Strachey. It probably one shots Infernape unless it's Sash. It does a lot of damage to a Mega Altaria because once it's Mega, it no longer has Flying type. It's neutral on the Amoonguss, and the Amoonguss is likely going to be especially defensive, so Ground is a really key type. Hence Donphan.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so now we'll just go down the line from there. I have Rotom Wash, and this was kind of a last second decision, but I decided to slap Light Screen on there with the Light Clay to kind of deter a Winner's Terrian. Sorry, Tornadus Terrian. I can't keep them separate. Tornadus Terrian or any like overheats or anything coming, or this is very specific. Any Giga Drains coming in from the Amoonguss, because although Amoonguss isn't the best, it is grass type and it can completely wall my my Rotom Wash. And so if Rotom Wash ever needs to stay in and recover with the Pain Split I have on there, or if it because I didn't put Volt Switch, it can't Volt Switch out, so it can't Volt Switch out. Or if I ever get stuck in there, it can take a Giga Drain relatively decent, at least better than it would without Light Screen.
Mm-hmm.
And deterring that Tornadus Terrian from coming in until I have rocks up is going to be really big because I don't ever think he's just going to throw in Jirachi like carelessly and allow me to get a free switch, free rocks, or whatever on Donphan.
Mm-hmm.
That's not Jair. Jair's too good for that. As you can see by his minions AV or whatever. That was a joke. We were making fun laddering teams. But yeah, so light screen on Rotom Wash. Next up is Garchomp, and this is a Scarf Chomp to outspeed the Tornadus Terrian. It outspeeds regular Infernape, but outspeeds any choice variant that Jirachi can run. It basically outspeeds everything on his team besides a Scarfed Infernape. And firing off an Earthquake or a nearly unresisted Dragon Claw or any of the coverage moves that I brought is going to do a lot of damage to a lot of mons on his team.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of like some good utility. So, Earthquake hits Jirachi Infernape. I have Stone Edge for non-Mega Altaria or the Tornadus T. I have Fire Blast, although I'm not expecting it to do. Although I don't expect it to really do much. That was more for like a safer kind of switch move because I am choiced. I believe it hit one more mon on his team that he didn't bring. No, it doesn't. Okay. But that was just kind of a coverage move because I needed something to put there, and I didn't want rocks because I already had a stealth rocker and Don fan.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just kind of coverage. Next up, we have kind of an odd choice, Perugly. I did want to bring in at least 1 week, and this looked to be the best week of it, be it the Regenerator Core. Because although not many people know about it, Perugly gets Super Fang, and that could be huge against some of the more Wally types. So, Alamola switches in expecting to eat up a fake out, return, combination, or whatever set I'm running, and takes 50% immediately, and I can switch out into any one of my counters for it. And it's forced to either wish or switch out to get Regenerator. That could be really big, and it has some coverage moves on there. I'm running a life 4 for more HP, but return, knockoff, and U-turn just to kind of deal out damage. The U-turn, if something takes a lot of damage from Super Fang and switches out, U-turn can be used to give me some switch priority. I think it's called initiative. That's what it is. And then return just for stab. It hits most of the mons on his team for neutral, and then knockoff just for the Gligar and its freaking Eviolite, because without it, that thing can eat up physical hits for days. I calced it, in the 4 times effective Ice Shard from like a max attack Adamant Donphan does like 25% to the defensive Gligar with Eviolite.
It's
That's
pretty
a 4
broken.
times effective move.
It's pretty broken.
But yeah. All right.
So so go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Next on to Gardevoir. Gardevoir was carrying the Assault Vest this week. It eats up special hits from any overheats Infernape wants to do. 4 times resist that fighting type too, so it can kind of be an Infernape check if I need it. Moonblast does a lot to a lot of his team. I have some other coverage moves, but the main thing that really kind of enticed me to bring in Gardevoir were the Special Bulk and Trace. With Trace, I can trace Regenerator from any 3 of his mons, and every time Gardevoir comes in to eat up a special hit, because all 3 of his Regenerator mons, at least the ones that he brought, are generally special attackers and don't generally have a reason to be a physical attacker. And so Assault Vest eats up the hits, and then I can switch out whenever I need to and instantly get the health back with the help of my his Trace Regenerator.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just beautiful. It's just beautiful.
That is really
Gardevoir
good.
It's just so good. But yeah, just for some fun. And finally, I brought Porygon Z for mainly I needed a special attacker with coverage, and Porygon Z fit the bill. I wasn't going to bring Superior because of all the resistances. Like, if you look at his team, 5 out of the 6 mons, at least the team he brought, 5 out of the 6 mons resist it. And I know it's like super effective and it could be used on Almamola, but I did suggest Mirror Coat Almamola to him 1 week. I don't think he brought it, but I'm not going to get hit by the Mirror Coat 2 times in a row.
Yeah, no.
So Superior sitting out, and Porygon Z came in with the coverage moves. It had Trick just in case, but I honestly wasn't really going to let it stay in on the walls, and so it was just kind of a rare occurrence just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I come in with the Choice Scarf, I forgot to mention it's Choice Scarf, Porygon Z. If I come in on something and I trick away the Choice Scarf, because I think, the wall's going to come in, it's not the wall, and that could be pretty hazardous, because then, all of a sudden, that thing might be able to outspeed my Scarf Garchomp, or it might get, like, an extra boost in speed, like, a Scarf Jirachi would be pretty power if he hadn't brought that Scarf Jirachi that week.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been crucial. You just don't want to risk anything.
Yeah,
So
no.
it was mainly there for the stab try attack to hit a lot of mons, along with, I think, Thunderbolt and Ice Beam just for coverage.
It's not bad. All right, so when you're looking at the team that he brought, what do you think was going to be his biggest threat?
So starting up, this is kind of what I expected. I would have been more scared if he had brought something a little bit lower that I hadn't entirely had a counter for. So, for example, Mienshao would have been able to do a lot of work, I think. I mean, I did have Rough Skin Garchomp that could eat up Fake Outs, or, Gardevoir 4 times resist it, Donphan is a physical wall, but I also have 2 normal types, and Rotom, although physically invested, does not really appreciate any fighting type moves that Mienshao decides to drop. So that was kind of a relief. In its place, there was the ever scary Infernape, but with Infernape, I can one-shot a non-focus Sash with a Scarfed Garchomp, and I believe I can eat up any one hit unless he's fully specially invested with an HP Ice.
Hmm.
And I mean, honestly, if he goes to that, props to him, but I don't think so. I don't think that's the kind of thing he needs to do to counter Garchomp. I think he can handle it. So,
Alright, so with that, let's go ahead and get into the matchup.
woo.
Alright, so he led off with the Alamola and you led off with the Rotom Wash.
And I believe I just go ahead and click right screen right here. Yep. Just setting it up. Not sure if he expected it or not, but I don't really see a defogger on his team, so I'm okay.
And then
Nagasaki immediately goes for the Spore, something I hadn't really prepared for. And so I'm basically going to stall these turns out as much as I can. So he sends out Jirachi. I go out into defensive Rotom to eat it up. And
he just goes for a U-turn and goes back out into his Amoonguss.
which I immediately switch out into Gardevoir because of Regenerator.
No, and the light screen, so
No light screen, sure, yeah.
It's gonna eat up any Giga Drain that wants to go your way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you switch out, so you're back at full HP again with the Gardevoir, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. All right. In Rotom Wash, it can Pain Split whenever it gets low. Here I just went decided to go for the Hydro Pump just for stab damage, maybe. White screen wears off, but I can't take the Giga Drain, like I said, so I switch out into Garchomp. Maybe not the best play, but I thought it might create a little bit of pressure.
No, I mean, yeah, you didn't really have much to really deal with the Amoonguss on your team, it seems like, besides the asleep Gardevoir.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it doesn't hurt to switch out into Garchomp when you have very much else.
Yeah.
And you go into
And
the
so-
Rotom Wash and eat up the Hurricane, which is good for you.
Oh, yeah. I believe it was resisted, but Pain Split here allows me to heal up because Amoonguss has ridiculous HP.
Hmm.
And so, like you saw, the Giga Drain did good damage, but with Light Screen, I mean, it's takeable.
Hmm. So you go back into the Gardevoir and he goes for another Giga Drain.
All right, yeah. All right, and Porygon Z comes in to create some pressure.
So you knew he was gonna switch out, so
Mhm.
he switched out, which it was able to do a lot of damage to that. Which
Mhm.
sucks. He knocked off your Toy Scarf, but I mean now you have free range to really use any move you want now. You're
Yeah,
not
and so I
locked
went
into
for a
anything.
Thunderbolt, safer play, because it did everything for neutral, except for the Amoonguss,
Hmm.
which he wasn't going to switch in now that he saw Ice Beam. So Donphan Physical Wall takes up the Jirachi. With the Light Screen, it can eat the Scald. I was kind of banking on a not burn there, and I got it. So you could say that's kind of lucky, but it is only a 30% chance. Let's not forget. So
Yeah, but he ate that up pretty damn well. So that was
Mhm.
really impressive. Even with the light screen out, that was like I didn't expect him to be that especially bulky.
yeah, I don't really think so either. The screens are really underrated in metagames and whatever. And viewers, you can ignore our banter and just kind of watch the stall fest happening right now. But again, Gardevoir goes in, waste out the sleep turns, and wall the Amoonguss. He switches out into Jirachi here. I didn't want to make the prediction in case I woke up, which I didn't. Gardevoir is taking its sweet time with his nap,
Yeah,
but
well,
he'll wake up eventually.
let's see. He just goes for another Iron Head. You go into Rotom Wash, which
Mm.
is your defensive wall to eat it up. He'll probably
Pain Split.
go back into a Moongus.
Can you see we're repeating things here?
We're hitting a
This is
lot of
really a
things.
stall match, and the only thing that's gonna really end it is Gardevoir waking up, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Like, you saw how little that Sludge Bomb did with the light screen up, and
Yeah, it
so
didn't
all I
do that
really
much
need
at
is
all.
Gardevoir to wake up, which will happen eventually. Wakes up right here, kind of a crucial moment, needed to eventually. Psyshock, and the first Mon's down, turn 27. Let's go.
Yep, so finally
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of his biggest threats is what went down. So it's not like it was like one of his
Mm-hmm.
walls mons. It was more of his offensive threats. So that was really good for you.
Yeah, which is pretty good. All right, so more of the same here. I
You
go
go for
for the
another
T-Bolt just in case
Oh, so you
because
didn't even go for light screen. Okay.
Mhm. I'm a little bit behind, but we'll see. So here, Rotom falls asleep. Again, not too much of a problem. I just need to kind of stall it out whenever I can. And so here, I believe I decided to stay in. I don't really care. I think he expected a switch, which is why he went for U-turn.
Yeah, I think
But
he
I'm just going to
expected you to
stall this
switch
up.
into. I think he's originally went to Jirachi was I think he expected you to switch into the Gardevoir to deal with the Mungus.
So this is the problem, the Mega Altaria, because this thing can set up and sweep if it needs to. So I go into Perugly because that's fast. I know it outspeeds. I can eat up the Hyper Voice with the light screen. Return automatically breaks the sub when he's forced to switch out to preserve it,
I mean,
which is really what
the
I
Hyper
did.
Voice still did a lot of damage though, even with light screen up. If it wasn't for the light screen,
That is
it
true.
might have gone down.
I do believe it would have at that point because light screen has damage. But here I can go out into Rotom Wash to wall the Amoonguss. And I mean, Perugly's kind of done at this point. It didn't really get to do what it needed to do, but I mean, it kind of works. So he's able to wish and fully recover the Altaria. Just switches right back out from the Ice Beam, just wanting to get up. I go for the Tri Attack. It does a lot, but I'm not Choice Scarf, which means I have to switch out and preserve it. So in comes Rotom again.
Huh,
Yep,
you're a couple
eat
seconds
it up.
ahead.
Oh, I'm ahead. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
you're ahead.
pause.
You just announced he just went for the U-turn and switching out into the Mega Altaria. So
Okay,
you went for another substitute, and you are still asleep.
still asleep. So this is a problem. So I switch out into Gardevoir to eat up its hit. Now here's a very interesting point in the match. That's a crit, doesn't do a lot, and he switches out instead of setting up or staying in with the sub, because he thought I had Hyper Voice because I would trace Pixelate.
I mean, it makes sense.
It was. I was just looking at that and I was like, wow, that okay. So okay, Nagasaki goes down because he made the wrong prediction, and here I'm just gonna go for another attack. Well, no, I'm gonna switch out. Sorry, but
it went down to the rough
Ruskin,
skin.
yeah,
So
which is what I wanted. But I was just wowed because I never thought about that, and I was just so good. Like I mean, I was tracing Regenerator. He thought I was gonna trace Pixelate.
hmm
Oh, but so I eat up the light screen. I not light screen,
you ate up the ice beam that he went
the ice
for,
beam. Yeah,
and then you're going to take
go
out with
for
a crit with
Moonblast.
the Moon Blast.
Now I was talking with Jair, and he wanted to make sure I mentioned this. I am such a lucky player because I got a crit when it mattered. Moonblast would have not KO'd right there. I'm not entirely sure I agree with his reasoning. Oh, and Perugly just kind of got sacked off, but
Yeah, I mean that was probably a smart play.
that's Jair's input. Scarf Chomp takes out the Infernape. He didn't really have a switch there because Earthquake would do a lot to the Mega Altaria. And here, unfortunately, it does not KO. And so, instead of staying in, waiting for the crit, and letting him get up, I went out into
You're
Porygon Z. I know it's not Scarfed, but Ice Beam will still do a lot. It'll get it down low.
and you got the freeze,
Freeze
the thawed
doesn't
out,
matter.
and then now goes the Porygon
So,
Z.
so I didn't get a 5-0, but getting the victory is really what's important. Very important to me. Getting the 4-0, it's still pretty good, and getting the win is really what's important to me at this point. So I am on top of the division, and when you're there, you hope it doesn't come down to a differential tie. You want to stay up there, and so I mean, the 2-0s aren't really helping, but
I mean,
I hope this 4-0 kind of reinforces some of the doubts in certain people's mind. Die.
I'm just waiting for you to lose because every undefeated team eventually loses. All right, but you're still undefeated. You're 5-0.
Yeah.
I'll give you credit where credit is due.
All right. Thank you. But
Um,
yeah, I was watching that. It was just one of those things I like to watch. Who do they think is gonna win? And I believe it. Also with Xavier, did Burke say who was playing him? Bob, I think. Bob in the Atlanta Shocks,
mhm.
wasn't it? Yeah. I believe Burke said he was going to win. So
I mean,
we'll see if
I
was
mean,
it Burke or was it you?
I'm pretty sure I gave Xavier the win on that one, but
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So we'll see it. So we'll see if Burke makes the crucial predictions this week. But
We will see. But I mean, you're still 5-0. You did really well. You played around that regenerator
but
core really, really well.
that was a really long match. As you can see, turn 53.
Mhm.
That's what Regenerator does.
It was a very long match, but you were still able to come out with a 4-0 victory over the regenerator core, and that was really impressive. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you. Woo.
And with that, we will see you all in the next video.
Bye.